Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Salesforce for Recruiters. I'm your host as always, Brad Owens, and today's goal is I'm going to help demystify Salesforce apps. So stick around, I'm going to show you a whole bunch of different things that can help you understand what apps truly means on Salesforce's ecosystem. So there's a few different things that we need to go through first so that you get a base level understanding of what I mean by apps and what a platform truly is. Okay, so the Salesforce platform itself is the way that I relate it is something like building a house. So a Salesforce platform can get you essentially the foundation, the concrete, everything that they put in the ground. What you build on top of that is completely up to you. They'll give you the basics. They'll have water hooked up there. They'll have electricity hooked up there. They'll have, sewer, all that kind of stuff that you would need actually already there in the foundation. But what you build on top is completely up to you. Now, there's ways that you can go out and you can buy a pre-built model home, right? You can buy the model and it would be set up for the way that you want it. You can kind of configure things. But there's also the way in Salesforce to buy almost like a pre-furnished condo, right? Like you're there with everyone else, but you get just one thing. That's all you get. The furniture's bolted down. You only get to use what they've kind of designed as, here's your house. Here's what's going to work for you, right? So there's a couple different things that you really need to look out for and understand about apps that are on Salesforce. So if Salesforce is this foundation, right, they give you the foundations poured with concrete and everything else, they have their own Salesforce apps. There's their CRM, which they're well known for. There's their Service Cloud, which is their customer service brand that they've got. A bunch of different things that work on top of that foundation. They've got their Marketing Cloud, now rebranded as digital. So they have a bunch of different digital type of engagement, different features that you can add on top of this foundation. So they have ones that they sell themselves. Those are Salesforce branded apps. They truly are like licenses that you can buy that you can add on top of that foundation. Now, Salesforce doesn't stop there. Just like the iPhone, Salesforce has its own app store. Matter of fact, Mark Benioff, the founder of Salesforce, one of the founders of Salesforce, gave the appstore.com to Steve Jobs back when they were designing the whole iPhone thing. Because Benioff had the idea, but he couldn't really put it into fruition yet. So he gave it to Steve Jobs. But now Salesforce has what's called the AppExchange, not the App Store, the AppExchange. It works the exact same way. There are a few different nuances that I want to go through so that you can understand the differences in the apps that you can see there. But the AppExchange itself functions much like the App Store does for Apple. So you can go out, you can buy apps that you can put on top of your foundation that allows you to build exactly what you need. It builds that house that you truly want. Now, you don't absolutely have to build from scratch, right? You're not laying down all the floor and painting everything and doing all that. There are some that will set you up with a basic house that you can come in and rearrange the furniture and put things how you want it, but you don't have to do things from scratch. All of these things are set up in such a way that there is absolutely no coding, the exact same way that you'd use your iPhone, right? So if you were to load Gmail on your iPhone, it populates. Spotify, same thing. Hulu, same thing. Netflix, same thing. Whereas my home screen on my iPhone may have Hulu because I like Hulu better. You might like Netflix better, so you don't have Hulu, you have Netflix. Maybe you're a rebel and you use YouTube TV or whatever it might be. What I'm trying to say is your home screen and your foundation that you have are both unique to you. You can have what's going to work for you, and that's the beauty of this AppExchange. So I want to take you through. I'm actually going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you some of the differences here so that you can understand what I'm talking about when it comes to Salesforce apps. So on this screen here, okay, so I'm going to pull up this screen. So here I am in the Salesforce AppExchange. This is appexchange.salesforce.com. It's where you can go to see a number of different things about Salesforce apps. You can see what's trending, but you can also go in and you can search for things that might be relevant to you. So for instance, let's talk about the Asymbl ATS. Now the Asymbl ATS is something that you can add in on top of Salesforce. So if you have a Salesforce foundation and you want to get recruiting features, the Asymbl ATS is one way to do that. It's the epitome of being able to really just add on the things that you need inside of Salesforce. And for us as recruiters, the Asymbl ATS is kind of the go-to for that because it is that bolt-on solution. It's not what we're going to cover in a second. So as a bolt-on solution to Salesforce, you're taking everything that is good about Salesforce and adding on the things that you want. These people who sell these types of apps, like the Asymbl app, they're not selling you their version of Salesforce. They're giving you features that you can add in to Salesforce where you want them to be. Plus things that will help, in this case, optimize your workflow, being able to create your own unique workflow on a per job basis. Like there's a number of different things that we can get into it about Asymbl, and we will throughout this series here. But what I want to make sure that I get across is apps that are truly a bolt-on solution allow you to take advantage of everything Salesforce has to offer. So I mentioned those things in the beginning. Things about like Service Cloud, things about their digital engagement tools, all those tools that Salesforce offers themselves, you have access to all of those. You can still use everything. There's no limitations by using a bolt-on solution. You're just adding in the features that you need. It's not removing anything that you can't use. It's literally adding in more features as an add-on to things that you can use. And that's what the Asymbl ATS here really is. Now, there's another way that people can develop apps on using the Salesforce platform. Now, Viva is its own CRM. Now, why would a CRM be sold in the Salesforce AppExchange? Well, you can see here, they've used the Salesforce Platform API to create a CRM that they think is going to work for a specific industry. So they've created one here for the global life sciences industry. So if I were someone who was in this life science industry and I wanted Salesforce, but I wanted something that was like specific to me, I could go out and I could buy the Viva CRM. Now the Viva CRM technically is built using Salesforce tools. So there are going to be some similarities to the Salesforce features and the Viva features. But what these customers are going to get is Viva's version of what they think Salesforce should be for you. So everything that you're going to need, so we can blow up this one. You can see if you wanted some coordinated execution, if you wanted multi-channel engagement, some compliance, you can see this type of interface. This is not Salesforce. This is Viva. And this is Viva's version of what they think Salesforce should be for those specifically in the life sciences industry. That may be well and good with these 13 people that have downloaded this, seem like they like it for themselves, but there are massive drawbacks to getting a Salesforce app built this way. Specifically, you really can't modify this to be unique for you. Every single person that buys this Viva CRM is going to get that CRM and the version that Viva thinks is going to work for you. Now, what if your business process doesn't align to the way that Viva set their app up? Well, tough luck. You got to go find something else, right? So if I am a person who is going out and trying to buy software on Salesforce and buy something from the AppExchange that's going to work for me, I don't want something that's going to rope me into what someone else thinks I want. I want to add on to what I think is going to be valuable for my particular company and my particular business process. So I would typically steer someone who's looking at doing recruiting inside Salesforce to more of the add-ons. I wouldn't steer you towards something that's going to be a pre-built solution that they often call a reseller of Salesforce, who is combined their solution into what they think Salesforce should really be for your particular niche. That's going to hinder you. It's not going to be able to take advantage of all the Salesforce features. One of the biggest things that these companies who develop these types of apps are doing as a disservice truly to their customers is anything that Salesforce comes out with in the future. Think about their Einstein AI, which we'll get into. Think about all of their configure and price quote tools. Think about all of their amazing new sales engagement tools and things that they're coming out with that their thousands of Salesforce developers are creating for them. Their billions of dollars of development are going into. All of the customers that use these kind of resold Salesforces, their own designed versions of Salesforce, customers don't get access to those new features that Salesforce is coming out with. It's a huge drawback. So while I could see there are positives that you could essentially have an out-of-the-box version of something that should get you started, it really is more trouble than it's worth, because then you're stuck. You don't have the ability to truly take advantage of Salesforce. You're stuck with what Viva has decided that you should have. So those are the two different types of apps that are on the AppExchange. There are those that are truly bolt-ons, that you still have access to all of the Salesforce ecosystem and add on anything that you want. And then there's the reseller type applications, which this Viva one is, which they've created what they think you should have from Salesforce. So while it might work for some people, I wouldn't really recommend it for those that truly want to take advantage of the Salesforce platform. Now, when we think about apps that you're adding into your Salesforce platform, those are the two ways to do it. On the AppExchange, you either have the bolt-on solutions or you have the kind of reseller solutions, which you can see here. So those are the two different ones. Now, let me throw something even more confusing at you. I'm going to log into my own Salesforce instance here that will say that I am a Pacifica staffing company right now. So today I work at Pacifica, right? This is if I were a salesperson and I wanted to log in to Salesforce, I'd want to see something unique for me. So this is a homepage that I've designed inside an app already in Salesforce. So we talked about the AppExchange apps. Now we're in our Salesforce environment. There are also apps inside the Salesforce environment. I realize this is tough. This took me forever to understand, so I want to help explain this. So over here in the upper left-hand side, you can see that there's a pop-up that says App Launcher. Now, apps inside of Salesforce are just experiences. The apps inside Salesforce are just experiences. So I want to prove this point to you. So right now, I'm going to go into the Sales app. If I were a salesperson, I would want a sales experience, right? So I'd want things that are unique to me. So I have my dashboards that show my opportunity pipeline, my win rate, my send out to hire percentage for my particular jobs that I'm working on, the submission to interview ratio for my particular jobs that I'm working on, and then all of the jobs that I am creating and winning so that my recruiters can go out and work on them. I want to see where the applicants are for those jobs. So I, at a glance, have a view that's going to work for me. I can see everything that's synced from my Outlook calendar. Like, here's the different events that I have today. Here's the different tasks that I might have for today. I can see my particular top accounts. So I'm seeing an experience that's unique to me. So inside of Salesforce, they have the app launcher that is for experiences. So I want to call out a couple things here. So first, notice this URL. Just keep this one kind of in your mind. You don't need to know it specifically, but notice it says page home. I'm going to create a different experience. So if I were a recruiter logging in and I'm not a person on the sales team, I'd want a different experience. So I'm going to log into the recruiting app. Recruiting app inside Salesforce is my recruiting experience. Notice this URL hasn't changed because I'm in a different experience. So now I could be logged in as someone who's a recruiter. And when I'm a recruiter, I want to see something completely different. I want to see my jobs up top. I want to see different KPIs. I want to see what applicants I have to review, what my own submission to interview ratio is. I want to see how my activities stack up against others. So this is my experience that I want inside Salesforce. So this is my app inside Salesforce. So I like to think of the apps inside Salesforce as experiences. That truly helps me. Now, I want to show you where all of these things that I've talked about collide. So let's go back to our sales experience. So in our sales experience, we can see that we have access to our jobs, which if I were to click right here in my dropdown here, I have access to jobs. So here are all the recently viewed jobs that I could potentially work in or work on. So something like this project manager role or a travel nurse role or a dietitian, or there's a bunch of different things that we have as potential things that we can work on. So notice I have access to my jobs. If I go into the recruiting experience, I can click up here and do the same drop down. I also have access to jobs, and I can now see all of the same kinds of jobs. So it's not that I have less features because I'm in one app or the other. It's just the experience. The experience is going to be different because I'm a different individual, right? So let's prove this even further here. So I'm going to go back into my sales app, and I'm going to go, I'll just start from the top so you all can see I'm not making anything up here. So I'm in my sales app. I'm going to go into my jobs. I'm going to pull up this project manager role, and you can see that it's a status open. It's a job that's at Omega Incorporated for a project manager. You can see I've got all this different kind of details, right? So this is all powered, and I'll show you once we go into this Kanban view, by the Asymbl ATS. Remember the Asymbl ATS app that I showed you? So the Asymbl ATS from the AppExchange was installed into my environment, and now I have the Asymbl app in here powering all of my recruiting. So I've got this Kanban view, I've got the ability to manage all the applicants that have come through, I've got all the details that I can collect on this potential job here. So I am now powering this internal experience by Asymbl. So now let me prove to you that even though I'm going into a different app inside Salesforce, I can pull up the same project manager role, and that same project manager role is still powered by Asymbl. So you can see these add-on apps are adding into the experience that I'm having inside of Salesforce. So while you can have Salesforce AppExchange apps, whether they are bolt-on solutions, which we've discussed why those might be a little bit better, or they are rebuilt versions of Salesforce, they're still all going to be different than what Salesforce refers to as their in-experience apps. So I'd call this an in-experience app. So inside the experience of Salesforce, I want to have the experience of sales. And here's my experience of sales. Inside of Salesforce, I want to have the experience app of recruiting. Here's my recruiting app. So you can see how you can take these couple bolt-ons that you can add inside of Salesforce and power any kind of experience that you want. So the add-ons just give you features that you can use inside Salesforce. That's why add-ons, I feel like, are the way to go when it comes to Salesforce. When you're talking about these reseller recreated apps like the Vivas of the world that create this own CRM that they think might work for a particular individual, you don't get all of those features. You don't get the ability to add in all of these new things or create all these different apps or be able to tailor experiences specifically for the users that you're looking at. You just get that one kind of blanketed experience that they think might be best. So when you're talking about apps, hopefully that helps you understand the difference of how Salesforce refers to their apps. If you're working with myself or someone from Asymbl, the way that we'd refer to these is add-on apps, reseller apps, and then experience apps, because there's 3 different types of apps inside Salesforce. So I hope that helps shed some light on that for you. If you want any more information about Salesforce and about how you can apply it to recruiting, subscribe. We're going to be talking that all day, every day. So it's salesforceforrecruiting.com if you'd like to, or you can send me an email. I'm happy to talk to you about what might be possible for you. It's hello@bradowens.com. It's the easiest way to get a hold of me. And if you have any further questions, you can leave them in a comment below on this video. But otherwise, I hope this helps shed a little bit of light into what apps on the Salesforce ecosystem are all about and the different kinds that there are out there. If you need any more clarification, just let me know. But all the best to everyone. I hope to see you on the next episode.